Hello everyone. Welcome back to this channel. There are moments in the world of celebrities that look completely ordinary at first. A short video. A quiet walk at night. A familiar song playing in the background. A few words in a caption. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that immediately tells the world that something important has happened. But sometimes, fans notice the details. And when those details appear in two different posts, from two different people, at moments that seem strangely connected, people start asking questions. And that is exactly what happened with Zhang Linghe Tian Xiwei. Once again, fans are looking closely at their social media activity, comparing details that might have been overlooked by everyone else. The question spreading through the fandom is simple. Did Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei just send each other a hidden signal? Or are fans looking at two completely unrelated moments and connecting them because they already believe there is something special between these two stars? This story begins quietly. There was no dramatic public appearance. No official announcement. No confirmed statement revealing a secret relationship. Instead, it began with something much smaller. Two late-night walking videos. Tian Xiwei shared a video showing a quiet nighttime atmosphere. It was peaceful, almost intimate in its mood. The kind of moment that feels less like a performance for an audience and more like a glimpse into someone's private thoughts. Then, attention turned toward Zhang Linghe. Fans noticed similarities between his own nighttime content and Tian Xiwei's earlier post. And suddenly, a simple walk was no longer just a simple walk. Fans began comparing everything. The timing. The atmosphere. The music. The wording. The feeling of the videos. Even the silence between certain moments. And this is where the story became much more interesting. Because fandoms do not simply watch. They investigate. They replay. They pause. They compare. They look at details frame by frame and ask the question that everyone else might ignore. Why this song? Why this atmosphere? Why this timing? And why did both of them choose to share something with such a similar feeling? For some fans, the similarities were too interesting to ignore. They began wondering whether the two posts could somehow be connected. Maybe it was intentional. Maybe it was simply a coincidence. Or maybe there was something in between. A small reference understood only by the people involved. That possibility was enough to send the fandom into another wave of discussion. But then came the part that surprised many people. The more fans compared the posts, the more complicated the story became. Because there was still no direct confirmation. No message from Zhang Linghe saying that his post was connected to Tian Xiwei. No statement from Tian Xiwei saying that she was responding to Zhang Linghe. No official explanation. And that silence only made the mystery louder. This is where we need to slow down. Because there is a huge difference between what fans noticed and what has actually been confirmed. What is confirmed is that both stars shared their own social media content. What is also clear is that fans noticed similarities and began discussing whether those similarities could mean something. But what has not been confirmed is the most important part. There is no official confirmation that the two posts were deliberately created as messages to each other. There is no verified evidence proving that Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei were secretly communicating through these videos. And there is certainly no official statement confirming a romantic relationship based on these posts. That distinction matters. Especially when two celebrities have already developed such a strong on-screen connection in the eyes of their fans. Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei have become a pairing that audiences naturally watch closely. Their chemistry created conversations long after viewers finished watching them together. Every interaction can become a topic. Every shared detail can become a theory. And sometimes, even silence becomes part of the story. That is exactly why this latest discussion has become so emotional. Some fans see the similarities and feel that there must be something behind them. Others are much more cautious. They argue that nighttime walks are not unusual. Using the same kind of music does not automatically mean two people are communicating. Posting around a similar period does not prove coordination. And a similar atmosphere can simply come from two people sharing the same aesthetic preferences. They may be right. But then again, that does not completely explain why the fandom reacted so strongly. Because the real story may not be about whether there was a secret message at all. The real story may be about why so many people immediately felt that there could be one. Think about that for a moment. If these were two completely unrelated celebrities, would fans be analyzing the posts this closely? Would people compare the music? Would they examine the timing? Would they search for similarities in the wording? Probably not. The reason these details suddenly feel important is because Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei already have a history of creating strong reactions whenever their names appear together. Their chemistry has become part of the conversation. And once that happens, every new detail becomes another piece of a much larger puzzle. Then came what some fans considered the most intriguing part. The possibility that the posts were not direct messages at all, but subtle references. Not a confession. Not a public declaration. Just something small. Something easy to dismiss. Something that could mean nothing to everyone else, but everything to the person who was supposed to understand it. And this is where the story almost feels like a scene from a drama. Two people. Two separate posts. Two different moments. And thousands of people watching from a distance, wondering whether they are witnessing coincidence or communication. There is something strangely emotional about that possibility. Because if it were intentional, it would suggest a kind of communication that does not need words. No names. No direct mention. No obvious explanation. Just a song. A nighttime walk. A familiar mood. And a moment that says enough for the person who understands it. But again, that is a theory. A fascinating theory. An emotional theory. But still a theory. And perhaps that is why this story has become so addictive for fans. There is no clear answer. If Zhang Linghe or Tian Xiwei had simply confirmed that the posts were connected, the mystery would disappear. If they had clearly denied any connection, the conversation would probably fade. But when there is no explanation, people keep looking. They keep comparing. They keep asking. Was it intentional? Was it accidental? Or did two people simply happen to share the same kind of quiet moment at almost the same time? And somewhere between those possibilities lies the reason this story continues to capture attention. For fans who support their pairing, these details can feel like another tiny piece of a beautiful story. For more cautious viewers, they are simply interesting coincidences. And for neutral observers, it is a fascinating example of how modern fandom works. Because today, celebrity stories are not built only by official announcements. Sometimes they are built through observation, through screenshots, through short videos, through comments, through theories that spread from one fan to another. One person notices something. Another person compares it. Someone else finds another similarity. And suddenly, a quiet social media post becomes a global conversation. But perhaps the most shocking revelation in this entire story is not that Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei have secretly confessed anything. They haven't. The real revelation is how quickly fans can transform the smallest details into a question that refuses to disappear. And that question is still here. Did they send each other a hidden signal? Or did fans simply discover a connection that was never there? Maybe one day, the answer will become clear. Maybe one of them will casually explain the meaning behind the post. Maybe there was never any secret meaning at all. Or perhaps, years from now, fans will look back at these tiny moments and realize that they were paying attention to something everyone else missed. For now, however, we have to separate emotion from evidence. The videos exist. The similarities were noticed. The fan discussion is real. But the supposed hidden message remains unconfirmed. And that is exactly what makes this story so intriguing. Because sometimes the most powerful celebrity mysteries are not the ones with clear answers. They are the ones that leave us sitting quietly, watching the same video one more time, listening to the same song again, and asking ourselves, was that really just a coincidence? So now, I want to hear from you. When you look at Zhang Linghe Tian Xiwei's nighttime posts, what do you see? Just two celebrities sharing ordinary moments? A coincidence created by similar tastes and timing? Or do you understand why some fans believe there could be a subtle connection between them? Don't tell us what you think everyone else believes. Tell us what you noticed yourself. Because sometimes, the smallest detail can completely change the way we see a story. And perhaps that is the real mystery surrounding Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei right now. Not whether we already have the answer, but whether there is actually a question worth asking. So, what do you think? Did Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei just send each other a hidden signal? Or was it all simply a beautiful coincidence? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if another detail appears, we will take a closer look at it together. Until then, keep watching, keep questioning, and remember, sometimes the quietest moments are the ones that make the loudest noise.